Hey everyone! So I know I look exactly the same as I did in the last video that I just posted, but I figured I would film all of this together so that I can get some stuff uploaded onto my channel. So speaking of past videos that I've just been hanging on to, today's video is going to be one that I filmed back in September. I believe it was September 1st, so it's a super old video, but I felt it was important because I'm sitting and talking to you guys about the recent paranormal activity that I've had going on in our house. At the same time, we also had some really weird shit happening around our property. I would love to give you a little bit of a tour so that you can kind of understand, but we basically live in the woods. We're right alongside a highway, but back where we live down a private drive, it's secluded. It's just us and Joey's parents across the street. So yeah, there was a lot of weird stuff happening, and surprisingly we get a taste of that at the end of this video. You're gonna see that while I'm in the middle of filming for you guys, I actually had something happen real time. So yeah, enjoy. Let me know if you guys have any questions or maybe some ideas about some of the stuff that has been happening, and I'm going to keep you updated. Look out for the other parts to this video. I think it's going to be an interesting series. Hey guys, and welcome back to Midnight Spook Show, or if this is your first time here, hey! My name is Jody, and I'm going to be hanging out with you tonight fireside, as if you can't already tell. I have a few things that I want to talk about. There's been some really weird shit going on around here, paranormal wise. Cozy up, get something warm to drink, wrap yourself in a blanket, and be prepared to talk about some spooky shit, because that's what's been going on here. So I figured I would share some personal experiences with you, and I just sort of want to make a little disclaimer. Anything that I talk about here on my channel as far as my personal experiences with the paranormal is 100% the truth. I have no reason to lie or to fabricate stories to try to get more views or to get paid. I do not get paid by YouTube. I purely do this to just let everybody know my experiences, because maybe somebody else has experienced the same thing, and just to get feedback on what I have experienced. I, at heart, am a skeptic, although I've had so many different paranormal experiences happen to me, just things that I cannot debunk or explain in any sort of way, and it's just something that I've experienced from a very young age. I was between 2 and 3 years old whenever I had my first experience, and I could pretty much say I have had a lifetime worth of paranormal experiences. So I hope that you can watch this with an open mind. I don't expect everybody to believe everything that I say, because I know some of these things can pretty much sound outlandish. But this is my truth, this is my story, this is my life. I'm going to talk about what's going on in the house. I have some weird stuff going on outside here on the property that is going to have to be in a different video, only because that is it's a whole separate video on its own. It's been a lot. So, one thing you might notice though, if you've watched any of my previous videos, we had a dawn or a dusk to dawn light, which was hanging out in the background here, that pretty much illuminates our entire property, but it burned out, so it is super dark out here. And if you don't know, I pretty much live in the woods, although there's a highway that's right by us, and I have a new microphone that I'm trying out. You guys will have to let me know how well it works, and I apologize if it's picking up on the road noise behind me. So, I have a little girl sitting here with me. Hey girl, hey! There's... Thank you. I never get kisses from Olive. This is Olive. You're gonna hang out and tell your story? You wanna be part of my video? And say hi to everybody on YouTube? She's very much part of everything that goes on in the house, because I feel like she might be a little bit more sensitive to things than some of the other dogs, although Nova is really starting to pick up some stuff as of recently. Nova is 6 months old now. Olive is 2. So she's gonna hang up here with me. Please don't mind her. She snorts like a pig every once in a while. She has a bulldog. She got that smushy face, so. Thanks for joining me. You gonna tell your story? Oh, thank you. Thanks, Olive. All right, guys, so let's just get into it. You gonna cuddle with me? Okay. So I feel like the best way for me to explain what has been going on is to sort of start at the beginning of the year and work my way up until now. I know that there's going to be tons of stuff that I'm going to be missing because there's so much stuff that goes on, and I'm not saying that everything's paranormal. I certainly don't think that, but whenever there is something that I feel is strange or off kilter, sort of, I like to record it in my phone. I'll just keep a note for myself because I feel like everyday life and the hustle and bustle of everything else that's going on sort of gets in the way, and I have forgotten things that have happened. And I'm sure people are saying, well, if it's something paranormal, how do you not remember it? It's because it's things that are just so little that you just kind of forget about them. Whatever's going on in our house has been only since, what can I say, maybe November, December, and it's been a while. That's almost an entire year. We're 8 months into the year, well, 9 months now, the beginning of the 9th month into the year, so it's hard to remember things that happen that are so small on a regular basis. The thing that I'm going to talk to you about, my first experience, happened back in November and December. Somewhere between there. At that point, it was honestly a blur for us. There was so much that was going on. Mainly, we still didn't know exactly what was going on with Marilyn and trying to help her out while also dealing with other things that I just don't want to get into. And I feel like in those times in your life when stress is really high, anxiety is high, you don't really know what's going to be happening on a day-to-day basis, you radiate a different type of energy that might not be as positive as what you would like. And I feel like things pick up on that very easily. So I'm not saying that whatever happened in our house was bad, but I'm just saying that it could be fueled by our emotions and everything that was going on. So I was sleeping in bed one night with Joey, of course, next to me, and we had Haley and Olive in the bed with us, and I think Marilyn, she was still around at this time, was laying on my side of the bed. So that was her favorite place. She would lay on my side of the bed, closest to me, like with her head almost, you know, I could reach down and feel her sitting there. Why is this taking me so long to talk about? So, one night I was laying in bed with Joey. I believe Marilyn was laying on my side of the bed, closest to me, like pretty much right next to me, but just on the floor. And I honestly don't know where the other dogs were. Haley always likes to lay on the end of our bed, and Olive lays on Joey's side of the bed. So as we're laying there, it was right after I had fallen asleep. It takes me a really long time to fall asleep. I don't know if anybody else experiences this, but my mind just goes a million miles a minute the second that my head hits the pillow. It's like I finally get the chance to think about everything that I needed to think about that day. My brain was like, yep, these are things that need to be taken care of now and what you need to be worrying about. But anyways, long story short, I'm laying in bed, finally fell asleep, and I hear this huge crashing noise right next to me. It freaked me the hell out because I couldn't tell what it was from. I was worried because it was in our bedroom. I thought maybe Marilyn had tried to get up to do something and she fell and she knocked the fan over or something. I don't know. All I know was that it was just really loud, and it was within like a 3 feet span between our bed and the wall. So, of course, it's pitch black in there. I went to go reach to turn my lamp on, and of course, the light bulb burned out. And I have like a little lantern that I keep next to my bed just in case, for whatever reason, if the power would go out. It's like a battery powered lantern. We turn it on, and yeah, so I go to step out of bed, and whenever I step, I'm stepping on like a hard edge for some reason. And I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. So like I could feel my foot trying to go over, but it was weird trying to go over a hard edge. So I just reach down and I go to grab my lantern, and I'm touching papers. I was like, what the hell? This is really weird. What is going on? So I finally get up out of bed. I had to move, you know, my footing a little bit further down. I go and I turn the light on. I didn't even care. Joey was still sleeping. I didn't even say anything to him. I just turned the light on. Come around my side of the bed, and my entire drawer from the nightstand next to my bed is out of my nightstand and on the floor, exactly where Marilyn would have been laying. And at first I was like, this isn't happening. Like, this is, no. So I try to wake up Joey, and I'm like, Joey, like, my drawer just fell out of my nightstand. But this wasn't just, it didn't just fall. This was done with a lot of force. And it landed exactly where Marilyn would have been normally laying, where she usually does. But whenever this happened, I guess she must have either been laying in the hallway or somewhere else, because she did not get hit by this item, or my drawer. It was just really weird having something happen that close to me, where it's literally like between the bed and the wall, there's a 3-foot space. If you're lucky. 3 or 4, yeah, definitely a 3-foot space. Enough for you to get out of bed and walk, basically. So I'm hearing something in the woods over there. And Haley's snoring. So yeah, this genuinely freaked me the fuck out. This isn't something that happens ever. And I was thinking, you know, maybe I went to bed and I just didn't close the drawer good enough. I went back and I tried debunking it. So I took my entire drawer, which was heavy. I have a lot of books in there that I've been meaning to read. I keep like some chapstick in there, my reading light, some bookmarks, some crystals, some oils. Like, this drawer probably weighed anywhere between 10 to 12 pounds, if not heavier. That's just like the contents inside of the drawer, not the actual weight of the drawer itself. So it was pretty damn heavy. And the thing that really concerned me is that that was where Marilyn normally slept, exactly in that spot. So I don't want to say at all that something was malevolent and that it was trying to do something to harm the dogs. I don't think that at all. It was just an extremely, extremely rare and strange occurrence. So, you know, even after trying to wake up Joey and explain to him what was happening, like, he was just still sleeping. He wouldn't wake up. Like, he is one of those people where he could be sleeping and talking to you in full sentences, but he had no concept of what the hell was going on at the time. So it was really difficult for me to go back to bed. I picked up the drawer, I put it back in my nightstand, and I somehow fell back asleep. I don't know how. I was so freaked out. I was just like and it's almost like feeling so violated in a way, because that's within a 3-foot span of my personal privacy. Like, the bedroom is probably one of the most personal places in the house. Like, you lay yourself down at night and you feel like you're fully protected and just comfortable and cozy, and I don't know, where you're most vulnerable, basically. So I fell asleep and I just could not get it off of my mind. The next morning I got up earlier so that I can sort of try to debunk it while I had some time. and it was fresh, just to see if it was something that I can recreate on my own. Try my hardest to pull that drawer as hard as I can to see if I could get it to come off of its tracks and onto the floor. And no matter how many times I've tried, I could not get it to do that at all. I've tried like lifting it up, I've tried hitting it from the bottom, I've tried just pulling it as fast as I possibly could. Nothing, in no way was I able to recreate what was going on. So I am still to this day super freaked out about it. Nothing else has happened with my nightstand since. And I don't know, I just don't know what to think about it. I normally don't have stuff of that sort of intensity happen. So needless to say, I was really creeped out. I was really worried that it was something so close to me while I'm in my most vulnerable state. Not only that, but being that Marilyn normally laid there, I didn't want to think that anything was trying to harm her. And I still don't think that it was. It was just, she could have gotten very hurt. If that would have fell on her head, especially, there's a possibility that she could have died from that. So yeah, that's the only time that anything like that has happened. Ever since then, nothing. So I don't know if that just picked it up. Sounded like sounded like tires squealing, but it also sort of sounded like a woman screaming. So I know that I shared pretty much my most intense story right in the beginning, but yeah, it's just really crazy. I have not had anything like that happen to me ever, honestly, especially that close to my head. Like it really messed me up for a while. And I would go to bed worrying each night, like if it was gonna happen again. And I've been on tons of paranormal investigations. I've had all different types of experiences throughout my entire life, but when it's like that close, it's just really fucking freaky. But luckily it didn't happen again. It was just a one-time occurrence. And again, I still cannot figure out what the hell it was. I don't know what was strong enough to do that, because I've tried with all my might. Like I literally tried ripping apart my dresser or my nightstand, and I could not get it to do the same thing at all. So yeah, after that, nothing really happened in the house. It was pretty quiet. There was no weird energy anymore. I feel like it had gotten to the point where it was just very quiet. It wasn't, things started to tamper off that were bad. We were able to handle some other things and take care of a few other issues. And it just seems like we were finally getting the chance to like sit back and take a breath, because last year, honestly, it was like occurrence after occurrence, like random ass things that would happen that I don't know. The universe was just shitting on us, basically. And yeah, it was nice to finally get to a point where things were looking up. We weren't so down and out all the time. It was, you know, becoming more of a positive place to be. And yeah. So I would say it was not too long after we brought Nova into our house. She came home on Friday the 13th in April. And normally, like when there's changes in the house, there will be things that happen, whether it be something big like getting a new puppy, or even if we put in like new doors, or if we make any changes to the house in any sort of way, it's almost as if it's reacting to those changes. It stirs shit up, whoever is in our home. So we brought Nova home, and I want to say within the following 2 weeks we had some stuff happen. I wake up every Sunday morning and will typically make us breakfast, not just for me and Joey, but for the dogs as well. They get like a special treat on Sundays. And I was standing out in the kitchen making some pancakes or something, and I hear Joey calling me from the other room. So I go into the bedroom and I look, and he's fast asleep, not at all talking or awake. So I thought it was like really weird. I just kind of brushed it off. Maybe he was like sleep talking. He's done it before. I just don't know. I go back to making the pancakes, and I'm just doing things around the kitchen, and I can hear him humming. Like in Joey's voice, I hear Joey humming. And I was just like, okay, he's in a good mood. He woke up and he's like in an excellent mood if he's humming as soon as he wakes up. So once again, I go back into the bedroom and he's sleeping. So I was like, all right, still thinking maybe he's sleep humming. He's sung in his sleep before, so this wouldn't be something new. So as I am getting ready to pretty much just wake up Joey and tell him that breakfast is ready, I hear his voice coming from the other end of the hallway while I'm sitting staring at him while he's sleeping in our bedroom. And I was like so put off by that. Like it caught me so off guard, hearing his voice coming down from like the bathroom and looking at him. Like my brain couldn't register. Like I knew that it was Joey and I knew that he was in front of me, but I couldn't figure out why it was coming from down the hall. So I just woke him up and I was like, hey, like, I know you might not know this, but you were talking in your sleep and you just said something like about something in the shower. I could hear you talking in the shower area. And he's like, well, that's really weird. I have been here the whole time. Like I didn't get up and run down the shower, you know, run down the hallway to the shower because you saw me, like I was here. So I thought that was like something that was really odd. I could hear what exactly sounded like Joey's voice in our bathroom. It was almost like he was like mumbling to himself, but yeah, obviously it wasn't Joey. I don't know who or what it was, but I could hear him talking at the end of the hall. Sorry guys, my battery died and I had to sort of move my camera a little bit further away from the fire because it was making my camera hot and I don't want that shit to explode or melt. So yeah, it was really odd. It was the first time that I've heard something imitate a voice, being Joey. I mean, it could have very well been Joey just sleep talking, calling me into the room, and I think the second time he was humming and then talking about whatever, mumbling down the hallway, which I knew for sure was not Joey. So I didn't really think anything too much of it. I just kind of brushed it off and forgot all about it, honestly, until the following Sunday when I was making us breakfast. I think I was in the kitchen just getting a few things ready, maybe making a coffee, and I hear Joey talking almost as if somebody else was in the room. So I go into the bedroom and I wake up like super early on the weekends. I'm just sort of one of those people who likes to get a lot of stuff done before noon. And I think I was up at like, I don't know, 6:30 on a Sunday. So, you know, while I'm in the kitchen, I think I was making myself a cup of coffee. I could hear Joey having like almost a full-blown conversation in the bedroom as if he was talking to somebody else. So I go in and he's completely silent, and sleeping. So again, I was just like, all right, he's been like really stressed out about this or that. And I know whenever he's stressed out is whenever he talks in his sleep the most. So I figured he's probably just stressing out about something and it's taking effect in his dreams. He's just talking. So I went back into the kitchen, not thinking anything at all. And the next thing I hear is a whistle. Like a human whistle, not like a blow whistle. And I think that's weird because Joey doesn't whistle like ever. So when I went back into the bedroom, again, he was sleeping This time though, he had his head under the blankets. So I just went in and I just tried waking him up and just said, hey, were you just whistling? Like, what are you doing? Why are you under the blankets? And he said because one of the dogs came in and they just would not stop licking his face and his head, so he just went under the blankets. And he's like, no, I don't remember whistling. And whistling is something that would be really hard to do while you're sleep talking. I don't know, do you know anybody who sleep whistles? Because I sure as hell don't. So at that point, it started to grab my attention a little bit more, because that's not typically something that you would experience if somebody does sleep talk. So I just thought it was odd, but you could definitely tell that it was Joey's voice. Like, it was definitely the way that Joey whistles whenever he needs to whistle. So I thought it was odd. So this continued to happen. There would be random times when I'm home and Joey's in a different room and I can hear his voice calling out to me or doing whatever, and I would say, like, what'd you say? And Joey would just be like, what are you talking about? I didn't say anything. But I know that I heard Joey saying something. So I just found it to be really weird. But so this has started happening probably like right after we brought Nova home, around April until now. The earliest thing, or the latest thing that I should say happened, is I was home alone. And I was starting to pack my lunch for the night before. I like to get all my stuff ready the night before I go to work so that I'm not having to rush around in the morning. I can sort of enjoy my time getting ready and, you know, hanging out with the dogs. So I'm packing my lunch, and this was a night where I'm not sure where Joey was. I think he was at a buddy's house or helping somebody. I don't really know. And I can hear a noise downstairs in the basement. The thing that really creeped me out is what I was hearing was my own voice downstairs in the basement. And I couldn't really necessarily make out what was being said. I just thought it was really weird. It sounded so much like my voice. Then I was like, you know what, maybe we forgot to turn the radio off down there, or we're hearing like somebody outside talking because we had the window open downstairs. I just figured that it was something else. And then I get down there and the radio isn't on and the window's actually shut. So I just kind of brushed it off. I didn't really think too much of it until I got back upstairs and I heard somebody or something say, hey girls, which is something that I say to our dogs all the time, but it was in my own voice. I know for certain that this time it was my own fucking voice that I was hearing downstairs in my basement while I was home alone. And I obviously am not going crazy. I know I wasn't going crazy. Like, it was something that I legitimately heard was my voice downstairs saying, hey girls, like the way that I would call for them to like go outside and go potty or, you know, do whatever. So that's sort of like, it creeps me out in a way because I've never heard my voice being projected in a different room, like outside of my body, unless I just didn't really know what to think of it. I'm still kind of baffled. This only happened like 2 or 3 days ago. What's today? Saturday. This happened Thursday night. So very recent. There's something in our house that is imitating both Joey's and my voices, which really creeps me out. I think it's weird that it's sort of taken on our voices, because I know that it could be a way to, I don't even know what to think of it, honestly. It's just really weird that something would learn how to say stuff like us. It literally just sounds like we are the ones that are talking in the house and it's not us. So that's also sort of creepy. Like, why can't you use your own voice? Why do you have to use our voices? And imitation in the paranormal, that to me sounds like it's more of something of an intelligent type. I just don't know. Sort of, it feels kind of like deceiving, you know what I mean? And I'm sure that there are other hauntings and other different scenarios where a spirit may take on the voice of someone familiar. I don't know if it's to be deceiving, or I don't really know. I don't know what to think of it. This is the first time I've ever had something like that happen. So when a spirit imitates you through your voice, and not just me, or not just Joey, it's happening with me also. There's so many noises out here. I just always hope that they're animals. Still something crunching over in the trees. Just gonna ignore it. I don't have a flashlight out here with me, although I probably should. So the last thing that I'm gonna add onto like the whole weird like voice mimicking thing, or hearing people talk in the house, I got to a point where I wanted to be able to monitor the dogs at any point during the day, because Marilyn would have like her good days and she'd have really bad days, and I wanted to make sure that while I was at work that she was still okay. There wasn't anything that I needed to do that would constitute an emergency or whatever. Like, I just felt better knowing that I can watch her whenever I needed to. So we purchased a couple like in-house cheapo like security cameras that would allow me to see wherever they were during the day, check out what they were doing, whatever. So we set a couple of them up. One of them was in our living room. We set another one up in the bedroom because that's where all the dogs would go while we were at work, just sleep on our bed. And we put one in the basement. And it gave us like a broad range. We had the one in the basement because for a while we would leave them in the basement while we were at work, or leave the gate open, I can't remember. But anyways, while I was at work, there was a day where I needed to stop at the store before I came home, which would have meant that I was getting home like, I don't know, 20 minutes to a half an hour later than I normally do. So before I did that, I wanted to make sure it was okay, and I wanted to make sure all the dogs were okay, taken care of before I did that. But I still called Joey's mom and I said, hey, I'm going to be a little bit later coming home from work today. Are you able to go over and just, bring the girls over to your house and hang out, let them go potty, whatever. She said, yeah, no problem. I am out actually near where you work right now. I'm on my way home right now. I should be there in about 10 minutes. I said, okay, cool. Thank you. I'll see you whenever I come home. So I checked the girls on the camera. This was probably like a half an hour, before I was getting ready to leave work. And 20 minutes to a half an hour, I look on the camera in the living room and I see that all the dogs are in there just hanging out. They're all sleeping on the couch. And I think Haley, or no, it was definitely Olive. She was laying on top of the couch looking outside. So while I'm like panning the camera around and looking at them, I ended up getting a phone call. So I put my phone down on my desk, just kind of left it there, took the phone call, was talking on the phone, and I honestly just forgot that my phone was even like still on my desk playing whatever was currently going on in my house, until it caught my attention. So I hear this weird noise coming from my phone while it's laying on my desk, which is being made obviously from the cameras in my house. So I pick up my phone because I hear like a scratching noise. And I was like, that's weird. Maybe, one of the dogs is itching or something. Sorry. The wind's blowing and it's changing my lighting. So I, pick up my phone and I'm looking at it and I'm watching the video and just kind of thinking, that's weird. It's like a scratching noise, but it's really, really close to where the microphone is on this thing. And it sounded almost as if somebody was taking their fingernail and like scratching on the table that it was on, and scratching on the actual camera itself. But I could see, like, none of the dogs were around me. I could see all of them in one shot where this camera was pointed at. So I was like, all right, well, that's a little weird. Like, maybe something's curious about these cameras. I don't know. So you know, I just tried to watch for a couple more minutes just to make sure that everybody was breathing. Like, I would always check to try to make sure that everybody was breathing. And while I'm doing so, I hear a voice somewhere in the house say, "Hey girls, what you doing?" And I was like, okay, cool, Joey's mom's here. She's gonna take them. I'll feel better going to the store. I can maybe take a little bit more time because I know that they're gonna be hanging out with her. So I put my phone down. I left it open just to make sure that they all got up and went down with Joey's mom. And I am closing everything up. I'm getting ready to leave, and I wanted to just check one more time that all the girls were gone. So whenever I look again, all the dogs are still laying on the couch, not moved, which I thought was like really weird because Joey's mom came in. Like, they should have went with her. That was the whole point of her coming over to our house. So as I'm watching and like wondering why they're there, I then hear Joey's mom come in the house, and she came through the gate that we have at the top of our stairs, and she says, "Hey girls, what you doing?" Yeah. Whatever just said, "Hey girls, what you doing?" prior to that was not Joey's mom. In fact, it didn't even have any sort of effect on the dogs. But as soon as I physically saw Joey's mom walk into our kitchen and say that to the girls, they all got up and immediately ran over to Grammy. And the thing that like I thought was really fucking weird was that it said the exact same thing that his mom did. And I was thinking maybe there was some sort of glitch, maybe for whatever reason, one thing or another, it was repeating what his mom said. The only thing is, she still was not in the house yet. So there's no way that it could have been some sort of a glitch because she wasn't even there. And she didn't even, it was just the thing that I think that was like, what the fuck in my mind the most is that it said exactly what she said whenever she came in. That's what she said. This voice said, "Hey girls, what you doing?" Which is the exact phrase that my mother-in-law said whenever she walked in the house to get my dogs. Like, what the actual fuck? How can you explain that to me? I've never had anything like that happen to me. Super weird, I just don't even know what to think about it. And that happened months and months ago. So yeah, that I think is what all my stories about imitating our voices and doing whatever. Not that the voice that I heard at first that said, "Hey girls, what you doing?" didn't at all sound like Joey's mom, which I thought was kind of weird at the time anyways. But yeah, it was just more weird to me that she later then came into the house like 10 minutes after this incident and said the exact same thing. Like, did something know that she was coming in and that's exactly what she was going to say? If so, like, that's just my mind is blown. Like, I could not wrap my head around that at all for the longest time. Pretty much all of the recent paranormal stuff has been surrounded around voices. And there's one more that I'm going to add to it. I have had some woman that I've been hearing in our house since March. After everything that we had gone through in 2017, I wanted to make it a priority to step back and really focus on myself, which is something that I've explained in my video where I said I'm back. I had been just pretty much focusing on everything and anyone other than myself, putting my feelings and my own things that I needed to take care of aside so that I can concentrate on other people. Something that I do a lot, and I know I'm learning to, you know, take a break and work on myself when need be, and actually honor myself enough to do that. So March came around and I had the opportunity to go back to a place where I was originally certified in Reiki, and I went and obtained my Reiki 2 certification. And I'm not sure exactly if what has been going on is pertaining to that event, but while I was in class, there was a night where we were all meeting, like everybody in our group, and one of the women she was a nurse, and that night her patient, in her words, had expired. So she was able to come to our meeting. She initially thought that she wasn't going to be able to make it. Joey's home. All right, so we just had something really weird happen. This is kind of gonna take a little bit of a weird turn. I was sitting here filming, and I was in the middle of talking about the woman who I had this class with, and while I'm talking, you can hear somebody whistling in our backyard. And I very distinctly thought that I heard, I'm a bad whistler, but I just kind of ignored it, because then I looked back and I could see that Joey was pulling into the driveway. So I'm like in the middle of filming a video for you guys, and while I'm sitting here filming, I'm hearing somebody whistle behind the garage, and Joey just got home, so he's going to investigate it for me. Into the darkness. Look. He brought his gun with him. So, do you want to talk about what happened to you the other day? What was last night?